for joining me again. Both of you, or all three of you, however many is watching. Probably not a lot, but thanks for coming back. Um, yeah, just gonna tell a few random stories tonight. Like I said, I worked at a prison for almost 10 years, and in a place like that, there's some wild stuff that goes on. Pretty wild stuff. I worked seg for a while, and that's segregation. In movies, they call it the hole. That's probably what most people know it as, the hole, where you have people that are acting up in prison or people that are scared and want to be put in protective custody. Now, this prison I worked at was a minimum medium security prison. So if they ever got maxed out, we'd have to house them in seg until we could send them to a max facility. But the weird thing is, even with minimum and medium security, you still got lifers. I mean, you still had murderers and everything else. It just means that they'd behave long enough to get their custody level lowered enough to come to a minimum or medium security prison. So yeah, we had people that were never getting out, nothing to lose. We had some wild folks there. And one of the guys I'll never forget, we'll just call him Bates, inmate Bates. He was in SIG. He was one of those guys that was going to a maximum security prison, but he was staying in our SIG forever because prisons are overpopulated. When you handing out life sentences for drug charges, you get prisons full and there's no room for inmates. It's crazy. But so this guy was in our SIG for probably a year. And he might be the craziest person I've ever seen in my life. One of the first times I worked in there, in prison you have Aryan Nation or Aryan Brotherhood. They're pretty much just a white supremacist gang. The only difference between them and like neo-Nazis is they don't shave their heads. All of them don't anyway. Some of them do. They're nuts. But so we had inmate Bates next door to these two Aryan Nations guys. And inmate Bates was a black guy. So I was working the reason I got put in seg this day, at a prison you have a card like A, B, C, D, E, and every day 2 cards are in what we call the barrel rotation. That means they go to that card to see who has to stay over because at least 10 people don't show up on a daily basis for their shifts, so somebody has to stay over and work a double. So you're working 16 hours, off 8 hours, and come back. So I got stuck in seg for the night. So I was there from 10 at night till 6 in the morning. And I get in there, and Bates had kept his tray from chow because they bring chow to the hole, and you have to give them the food through a flap in the door. The only time they're out of that cell is to go out to rec or to go in the shower. And you have to cuff them, take them to the shower. They get in the shower, put their hands through the hole of the shower door. You uncuff them, cuff them, take them back to their cell. They'll rec. Take them, put them in a rec cage. They put their hands out the cage. You take the handcuffs off. Then you gotta cuff them, take them back to their cell. So they're never out unless they're cuffed. So Bates kept his tray, which, unless the guards were gonna spray him and go in there and get it, they just let him keep it. So I go in there at about 11 o'clock at night. Bates just takes this tray and just wailing on this wall, just non-stop beating this plastic tray against this concrete wall, the wall that connects to the Aryan Nations cell. And I mean, he just, all night he's doing it. So we got to do 3 counts at night. And really it's just to make sure every inmate is still there, but mainly to make sure none of them's committed suicide or killed their cellie or, aren't doing other things that inmates get up to. So after about the second count, I had it. I've heard this tray hitting this wall the entire night. So I just go up to a cell and I go, dude, is that completely necessary? And he just looks at me and goes, yeah, and just keeps beating this tray against the wall. And I'm like, ugh. So the sergeant, because there's always a sergeant in SIG, told me, yeah, those guys next door to him are Aryan Nation, so he's gonna do that all night to make sure they don't get any sleep. So that was just Bates. That's how he acted. Anytime a female officer came in this pod, and sometimes males, he didn't care. You would see his parts in the window of the cell of the SEG door. It's just, that was Bates. But the funniest thing that I think ever happened with inmate Bates liked to throw poo, and he would take empty shampoo bottles, no sham left, none but poo, and he would put his poo in the shampoo bottles and then put water in there. That way, if he didn't like you, he would spray it through the crack in the door, or when you open the flap to give him a tray, he'd spray you that way. So usually he didn't go to SEG or the showers, because then somebody could come in and take his poo. Well, one day he he usually didn't go to rec or the showers. One day he decided to go to rec. I guess he thought we wouldn't think of it. So, of course, cuff him, take him to the rec cage, go in there and search his cell, found all these sham gone poo bottles, take them, and, throw them away, write him up for having them. It's contraband. And so we bring him back in from rec, and he's in his cell 30 seconds and just starts throwing a fit. Y'all stole my doo-doo! Y'all stole my doo-doo! For like hours. Y'all stole my doo-doo! I mean, he's just going off. Then he does what a lot of inmates do in SEG when they get pissed. They break the sprinklers, because every cell's got to have a sprinkler in case it catches fire. Gotta have a sprinkler system for inmate safety. Breaks the sprinkler head off, floods the cell. Water, he's on the top tier. The cells go all the way around at the top, all the way around at the bottom. Water pouring off the top tier everywhere. There's drains in the floor because even if they didn't break it, whenever it set off, the water's got to go somewhere, but got to get an inmate rock man in there to mop it toward the drain. Just nuts. All this because we stole his doo-doo. So anyway, there's a couple funny prison stories. Believe me, I got plenty more. Also got some stories, man. Me and my brother texted today, and he reminded me of a lot of stuff I'd forgot about from when we were kids. So, be some stories about that coming soon also. But yeah, inmate Bates and the missing doo-doo. That was a hell of a day. Anyway, thanks both of y'all for joining me. See you again tomorrow. Please remember to like, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.